Let's see how we can build a full end-to-end web application with just AI agents. So we're going to use a new tool called Trey AI. They have a coding agent that can work directly out of the box. We don't really need an IDE anymore. We just have the agent interface. You probably know all the different tools out there, but we're going to see what I've been using lately, but also just testing out this AI agentic capabilities. So we're going to build a full personal project task management tool that I can use both for my own work, but also just like how we can build a software system end to end with this tool. So let's just jump straight into it. Right now, we're inside the IDE, but we don't really need an IDE anymore. We also have this solo mode, which is just a full interface for AI agent coding. So if you're doing vibe coding, want to build full scale apps, end to end full stack apps, where we both have the front end, back end, database integration. You can also deploy the projects in here. So it's pretty much just the end to end process of building apps. So what we can see here, we have the solo coder. We also have the solo builder. We're going to test out both of them, but here we can see we have this new solo coder that can handle iterations, bug fixes, refactoring in large projects as well. One of the cool things that they have is basically just how they manage the multi-agent sessions, but also the memory and context when you load in large code bases, which is the main problem when we're talking about like coding AI agents, is how do you handle full-scale projects and not just a single coding script. So that's pretty much just what we're going to do. We're going to start out with a planning mode. Usually every time I do any agentic coding, I come up with a plan. First of all, I go into plan mode, describe to it what I want to build, and then we build it in different phases. First of all, here, let's just take a look at the website as well, and we're going to build out the app. But this is pretty much just the new solo coding agent. It's all you need. You can see pretty much just as if you're using GitHub, you can see the differences in the edits that it's doing. Usually a lot of people that are just using the AI tool, they don't look at the code, they don't look at the differences that the AI agent is actually like doing, and that is not good. You can get pretty far without looking at the code, but if you need to do any changes, if you really want to build production ready system, you still need to know what's going on and what is actually changing. But you can also learn significantly more, actually like just getting a description. What are the steps that the AI agent is doing? What are the differences? And where is it making it in the code? So this is pretty cool. You pretty much just have a task list on the left side. We're going to see this. We have our main chat interface, and then we have our code differences on the right side. We can both have different integrations, doc viewers. We can have the different viewer here where we can see the difference it makes in code. So it's pretty much just baking all the IDEs, terminal, doc viewers into the solo mode, and then it has a bunch of different integrations. You can use it for prototyping, front-end development, back-end development. We're going to do it in this video where we just combine all of them. So definitely go in, check it out, skim through the website here, but let's go in and see how we can use the IDE that I've been testing out lately just for some of the vibe coding projects that I'm doing. So let's just start here in plan mode. They also have a ton of different models available out there that you can check out. Voice input, I also have different voice tools that I'm using. So if I just speak to the AI agents, they do the coding, I take a look at the differences and verify that it's actually correct. We can choose different agents. So we have the solo builder and also solo coder. Right now, we're just going to use the solo coder. You can also create your own agents. You can add context here. You can add images and so on, just as any other tool. But here, we pretty much just have a seamless integration between it, and it has very good understanding of your code base. So let's go into plan mode. Let's just go into the voice input mode. Let's accept that I cannot use my microphone. I want to build out a web application for myself. I want to build a personalized task and time management tool. It should have a modern and sleek user interface. And then I also want to build in backend functionality. Later on, they might do some integrations into some of the social medias I'm doing, basically just so I can schedule social media posts, videos. I'm doing YouTube videos. So basically just want to have a full content calendar where I can see when I schedule content, when do I have to contact clients, what are the different projects that I'm working on. So pretty much just baking all the functionality into it, fully creating a software system for personal use so I can make myself more efficient, but also just be able to get a higher level overview over what I'm doing and what I have to do. So we can pretty much just see here, we're going to create a new project. It is in plan mode. Imagine how long it would take to type this out here compared to just talking to the agent. You can use tons of different tools out there. Here you can use it directly in solo mode. So project name, let's call it task management. We hit confirm. Now it's just going to open this repository. And now it's going to analyze it. It's going to create the task. We will have the different task lists and so on. Usually, if you're just using a CLI tool, you don't really get the nice looking user experience. You don't get the different tasks with checklist and the to-do list where you can follow how far the agent is. If you look in a terminal, there's also all these integrations, extensions into VS Code, Cursor, these different IDEs, also the IDE here, but you just need solo mode if you want to do some quick prototyping, iterations, and you still have the code differences, so you can either reject it, you can accept it, you can make changes to it. It's easier to reference inside the code when you follow step by step the differences that it's making. So let's see here what it comes up with the system architecture. So it's designing, analyzing the current project structure, designing the system architecture for task management, calendar, and content scheduling. And now it's basically just going to set up a modern front-end framework. It will have the terminal here on the right side, execute the commands. Right now we have an npm install error. It's probably because we need to run it as sudo. So I'll just give it access here. So I gave it access. Here we have it on the right side where it can basically pretty much just ask me to enter different things. We would like to use React compiler. Let's just go for that. All the steps. So I see there's an npm cache permission issue. Let me fix that first and then proceed with the Next.js setup. Great. Now we're trying creating the Next.js project again. So we have Next, we have React, React DOM. We're going to use Tailwind for the styling. So this is just front end and back end that is setting up now. So we can create our project. Right now, first of all, it's just doing the installation. It will take a bit longer in the first run, but then in the projects that I've been doing, I've pretty much just been looking at it here. It's significantly better than the CLI tools. I feel like I just get a high level overview of what it's actually like doing. You can always interrupt it. So now we can see that it's running some other commands for installations. We have the terminal on the right side. We can open Cloud Code as well. You can open new terminals, codex sidebar. All these integrations are done as well. We have different tabs. We have the editor, we have the diff viewer, doc viewer, we have different agents. You can connect MCP servers to it as well. So here we have the different agents. So we have a solo coder, but you can also create your own. I usually have this code difference viewer, so we can see pretty much just step by step what do we actually have of changes, especially like if you have larger repositories before you make pull request and your different branches. You can have doc viewer. Right now we're still at the installation step, so we can't see anything yet. Integrations with Figma, if you have some designs that you want to base your software and system on. So now we can see I might need to have input. So it's not just running random commands, it's following you step by step while we're creating the project, instead of just going fully bananas. You can change it, like you can ask it whatever you want. Right now we can see that it's probably using some ShatCN components or like this Tailwind configuration. Let's just go with, I want to use the stone theme. That's a pretty cool looking theme as well. There we go. So now we have our components added for frontend. And it pretty much just writes it here as well. Excellent. Now let me add some essential UI components that you'll need for your task management system. So yeah, I can see it installs ShatCN. So it's going to use ShatCN components for the button, cards, inputs, label, text area, select dialog, drop-down menu, just the basic front-end components that we have. These are some pretty cool looking ones, and you can just style them however you want. And right now we're still just basing it on the plan that we gave it, and it's doing a pretty good job. Until now, we're usually either you have to wait a long time until you get a response. If you're using codecs with the GPT models, they're pretty slow, depending on the use cases that you have as well. Like each tool has pros and cons. but here it's pretty much just running. If you have Claude Code, it will go down different paths. It's pretty good as well, but you just don't get the same transparency of what is the model actually doing, and it just disappears fast in the console. So now it's in thinking mode as well. We have it in max mode down here at the bottom. So now it has set up the modern front-end framework, design system architecture, Next.js for background. We have TypeScript, Tailwind, Postgres. So Next.js for both a front and a backend. PostgreSQL for database. We have some content calendar system as well. And it will integrate it with our database schema as well. So every time we make a scheduling, for example, in the calendar, it's going to add that to the database. So that could be one schema for database. All these things here, it's so important to know. Pretty much just software engineering in general, like how do databases work, backend system, front end, how do Docker, how all these different components talking together, how do you deploy a quick app. So this is also what I'm putting out on my YouTube channel. You can do AI integrations into it, computer vision integrations. You can have YOLO models running where you build a dashboard around it. Tons of videos covering that on the channel. And I'm also doing my 30-minute vibe coding live stream where right now we're building out a meeting game. So you can basically just walk around, interact with people. Like once you go into the area with a specific proximity, then it will pop up with pretty much just a Google Meet, so you can like talk with people while you're walking around in an isometric 2.5D game. So we can see that's pretty much just setting up our environment file as well. That's pretty important. Once it made some changes, we can then open it directly up in the differences. So we can see that it updated this Prisma file for our schema. We have our environment variable file. So here we just have some initial setup with our database URL. Now it also added our next auth. So here we have the task. So you can also create a new task. You can have multiple agents. You can distribute it out. So once you have the ground structure, could be that you want to spin up a new task here. So then you can ask another agent to implement specific functionality, and it will just run all over here on the left side. You can see the progress of it. Once it's finished up, you can go in and verify it, take a look at the differences. I usually only have maximum 2 agents running at the same time because I really want to just look at what's actually like being done in the code. And if you just lose a quick overview if you're not following along with what it's doing. So see where we're at now. So content router for managing YouTube videos and social media content. When you're setting up the system, the ground structure, most of it is just files, installations, basic project setup. Just have one agent running. Once you have your base system, it can work on independent components, individual sites, different functionalities, and so on. You can distribute that out to different agents, but don't have the same agents working on the same functionality or even in the same files. It could cause some conflicts here and there, but also just misunderstandings. And it might even just end up costing more time compared to just waiting on 1 or 2 agents that you have running. So now it's going to have some calendar routes. Client route is managing YouTube videos and social media content. Project router, see the differences. Right now it's not making any differences because it's just adding the file, but it's it's just very sleek UI here. Easy to go through. If you're familiar with GitHub, you're looking at code changes. When you have a pull request, what's being changed in code files, you check your Git status before you push your changes. All these things here, if you're not familiar with it, like get familiar with it. It is one of the most important things, and it's going to be one of the most important things, and even more important because we need to be able to do code review. We're basically just going to have AI agents doing coding for us, and we will be the supervisor. We will be the guys coming up with the ideas, what we're actually going to implement, and then monitor it as well. At some point, we'll be able to just byte code, don't even look at the code. It will generate some rough app. But if you really want to build real systems like enterprise systems, get out there, be able to resolve bugs and so on, you really need to understand what's going on in the code. And it's not much about like knowing a specific programming language or specific framework. It's much more about knowing all the different elements of software engineering, how to connect components together, how does it all work? Because when you're seeing it here, I can go through the tech stack. I know what each of the components are. I can see, okay, this is actually like correct. This is what we want to use. We have the chassis and components for a beautiful UI. as we wanted. We have some users, we have projects, tasks, content items, we have clients, we have calendar events, social accounts. So this is act like a pretty good database schema. This is covering everything that we want for a personalized task and time management tool. So I think this is pretty much just mainly we have the content calendar. That's for the time scheduling. You can also integrate a to-do list. So now you can see the application is now running for you to start building the user interface. The server is running on this port already, and the backend infrastructure is in place. So now we can see that our backend here or server is already running. If you just click on it, it can also open it up directly in the UI, so you don't have to have your Chrome tabs, all these things here open at the same time. You can see the console. So here you can see open a browser, show device toolbar, all these things here you can see directly. And one of the other cool things, if you're familiar with all the other tools, they're pretty much just baked everything into this UI here with the Solo builder and the Solo coder. Look here, you can just hit deploy and it would act like deploy your server, and then you can access it on a link. So now we have the main functionality up and running. So let's just ask it to pretty much just come up with a nice looking UI so we can see and interact with the web app. I want you to come up with the front end so I can interact with it, play around with the different pages, and see if we need to add more functionality, if we need to make any changes, or some of the functionality is not working. So let's build out the full web app now. There we go. Now we send in another prompt. This is the second prompt that we send into the system. And after this one, we probably act like have our web app running on our server. We can try deploy it. And then we have built pretty much just an end-to-end system while monitoring as well. I'm talking a lot. I'm going through the steps. I'm explaining all these different things to you guys, coming with suggestions. What do you need to pay attention to? Where is this coding space heading? Because I'm using these tools here 8 to 10 hours every single day. I'm using coding agents, all the different tools I've tested out, the Gemini models, Claude models, all different types of IDE, cursors, VS Code, Copilot, you name it, all these different tools here. But here we have everything baked into one. So I've been testing out this one lately for most of my end-to-end solutions and project where you don't really need to look too much at the code. But if you need to, like after it's done generating it, you can just go into the IDE, you can go through the code. But at the end of the day, even in the other editors that I'm using, I'm mainly just looking at the differences. Sometimes even just going into the Git status, looking at the differences so I can see, does this act like, look like it's doing the correct thing? And then I'm of course testing it out. So let's see here what I actually came up with. It's still generating. And it's just cool to have all these different tabs. So you can have your terminals, you can just add new terminals, you have your different agents, you have your different viewers, you can have your browser running in here with your server, you can have multiple windows open at the same time. So complete front-end implementation for task management app. You can edit your plan by yourself. Let's just execute it. So it's pretty much just going to add some more Shatsian components for a full UI. It's going to implement a sidebar. That's pretty cool. We have the sidebar on the left side. We're going to have a task management system. I'm pretty sure that this is going to look pretty cool already, and we can just hit deploy. And that's pretty much going to be it. So let me just run it here. Let me just generate it. I'm pretty much not going to do anything, but then we can take a look at the app when it's running after pretty much just going to grab a coffee. Then it will probably be done once I get back. We check the server, we play around with the UI and the app that we have built, and then we're going to deploy it so you guys can see how we have the full end-to-end system running. So it only took around 5 minutes here to pretty much just finish up the full UI, and then it also have the server running on port 3000, and we have the different pages in our navigation bar, and then we just have the URLs for each of them. So for the dashboard here, you can also make it full view. You can also grab it here, open up a new Chrome tab, You can see it here, just running locally on your own computer. We can make it large screen, and we have the different tasks. So we don't have any backend functionality connected to it yet. You can also like hit new task. You have dark mode, light mode, and so on. Directly support out the box with the chassis and components. So this is pretty cool when you're building like UIs, like new tasks. You see all the tasks you have available, loading those from the backend. Right now we just have placeholders, but you can just do follow-up questions and prompts with all the functionality that you want. We have our content calendar. We can schedule content. See the project we have. We have the clients, analytics. We also have settings here. The settings is not integrated yet. You can just ask it to do them. But now we act like have a front end up and running. All you have to do is just do follow-ups with add the functionality to the buttons that it has, and then just go step by step. So now could actually be go in and generate a new task for each of the different agents, but to pretty much just end it all. Like you can do whatever you want here. It's pretty basic. Just add the functionality that you want. Now you can see how easy it is to build apps. It's much more about finding to rate that year. There's no excuses for not being able to build your apps and your ideas. So one thing that we can do here is that we can go up and hit deploy. You have to connect it to Vercel. So it's pretty much just going to host it on Vercel, your server. Pretty easy, very cheap compared to like all the large cloud providers and so on. Like it's probably a few bucks, $5-10 a month, and you can host your web app instead of hundreds of bucks. Right now, we just have a Next.js application running. Very easy to deploy as well with Vercel. So it's just going to upload all the files here, then it's going to make it available, and everyone can pretty much just access our app. We can ask our AI coding agent to implement user authentication, user permissions, all these different things. And so not everyone can access your app if you want to hide that away. So we can see here, deploying 1 minute ago. Let's open it up. It'll probably just take a few seconds before it's ready to go. So we can see still deploying, but it will just take a few minutes and you have your full web app deployed on Vercel. You can access it on your link. Right now we're using localhost. Here we're going to be able to see it on our trade task, management, something else, some URLs. So it's still deploying. Let's just give it a second. All these things integrated, like I didn't even have to leave this UI. We have the task, we have our full user and chat interface where we go back and forth. We have our terminal, we have our browser window where we can see everything. We can iterate fast. You can just go in here and again and ask it, implement. And you can see here how slow I was typing this in compared to just speaking it. And then it's going to go in and integrate this task. So if we add a new task, it will also add it to the database. So everything is stored there and it will go in and pull it up. So now here we're going to add chat.cn component for this one. Let's see if it's deployed now. Now you can see we got a deployment error. Pretty much just going to drop it in here. No idea what this error is. So it's going to rename the client router to avoid the conflict. So Vercel is probably doing something where it's conflicting with the names. Usually like it's not good to call something like clients and routers. It's probably using that for the deployment. So once it has generated the fix, let's try to redeploy it and take a look at our app. So we can now see that our app is ready to be deployed. I just posted the error message into the chat. Let's try to take a look. You can also share the link. Now it's going to be hosted here on Vercel. So now we act like have the link. So we can go into our Google Chrome. We have our local host. Pretty much just going to paste this in. We have our app now hosted on Vercel. This is pretty cool. We can see the different tasks, projects. It's going to load the database once that is actually like implemented. We have the dashboard, project, calendar, the exact same as in here. We can see for analytics tab. We actually like have data that is loading from our local database. So this is just some placeholder information. We need to get this hooked up and so on, but this is how we can build an end-to-end app. And here we already have a pretty cool modern looking UI. You can just do follow-up iterations. So definitely going to try this out. This is a new cool AI tool. You can go inside the pricing. You can look at it. You can try it out for free or just for $3 For the first month here, you can try the pro model where you have like the fast request, you have all these solo mode and everything that you can run that I've been showing in this video. So definitely go and test it out. Everything will be down in the description. You can go and check it. The code will be on my GitHub as well, but we pretty much just built this app fully end to end. Of course, it's not done yet, but in just a few hours, if you sit down with your ideas, you can actually create some POCs or basically just iterations on your ideas that you have, and one day it might become a pretty nice app. You can either build a software system, you can build your own internal system as well. For example, this could be very nice for just managing my time, task, all the content I'm scheduling on the different platforms, and so on. So hope you learned on this video here, guys. Definitely make sure that you know how to act like build systems, get things out there. One thing is just implementing small features here and there, making product changes as a front end developer. It's much more about how do we build systems, how do we put all the components together and actually get them out there. That's where the value is. Hope you learn a ton. Hope to see you guys in one of our upcoming videos, and also make sure check out the live streams that I'm doing where we are fully wipe coding apps as well, deploying them, Coolify, Vercel, Railway, all these different platforms. So you will learn a ton there too. Hope to see you guys in there. Until then, happy learning.